here. So similar to that, I'm configuring from business owners. What will happen is this is my product and this product will have one line, product line. So let me rename that particular line. Okay, now this product will have this product line. I have to bring that particular marker to this particular line. So what I'll do is I will take that particular marker and I will drag and drop here. Okay, now whatever coverages, conditions, exclusion, whatever you are configuring, that will get added to this particular product line. So what you can do is whenever you want to configure something, so it is like a tree like a structure. You will have a root node and then to that particular root node you will have all the subnodes added. So let's say now I want to configure coverages. So what I'll do is I'll just right click. There is an insert option and just you can click subtopic. Right click subtopic. So like that you can add a multiple subtopics here. Okay. Now let's say I configure the product line now. What is my next step? I want to configure coverages. Okay. Now whenever you are configuring any coverages, you might have seen that in product designer you have a coverage name, you have a coverage code, and each coverage will have a category added for that particular coverage. Without category you cannot add any coverages, and there will be coverable which is called as a covered object. So these four are a mandatory fields. If we compare this particular thing with our Xmind, how basically it will work is I will have a 50 coverages for example at one category. So what will be my first step? I will be first configuring the category. So let's say I have a line level coverages. So what I'll do is I will rename that to line level coverages. This is my category. Now how system will understand this is my category?
By adding a marker.
Correct. Correct. So what I have to do is I will just come here and I will see where is my marker for category. So here, this is the marker clause category. I will just drag and drop here. Right? Now let's say I want to configure exclusions. Exclusions are again one categories, right? So I'm just renaming that to exclusions. So I will just take that marker here. Let's say I want to configure conditions. So what I'll do is I'll just mark it as conditions and I will bring that particular marker here. Okay. Now after configuring the category, what is my next job? I want to configure a set of coverages tied to that particular category, right? So what I will do is I will just right click here. I will do insert subtopic. I'll right click insert subtopic. Now what I want to do is my next step is I want to configure let's say 10 coverages tied to the line level coverages. So each subtopic will have the coverage name. For example, let's say you want to configure a collision coverage, right? So what I'll do is I will rename this to collision coverage and I will drag and drop that particular marker here. Let's say I want to build bodily injury coverage. So what I'll do is I will just rename that as a coverage name and I'll drag and drop that particular marker here. So like that, what you can do is you can configure multiple set of coverages tied to that particular category. Now one more thing is you might have seen that I have tied this category to the line level, right? So what is my covered object here? What will be my coverable here?
The line itself.
That's correct. Correct. So because I tag this particular coverages category into the line, my covered object or coverable will be line. But let's say you can have a multiple risk objects, right? And you can have a multiple coverages tied to the different coverable. How will you configure that? I will come to that point also. So till this point, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Now coming to the next thing, right? You might have seen here in my existing Xmind, there is something with the yellow color here, right? So what is this yellow color? So these are called as a label. So when you say label, right, what does it mean? You might have seen that in the product designer, whenever you are configuring any coverage, there is something like a coverage code, right? Or let's say you are configuring one product. In product also there is a product code. So these are called as a label in Xmind. So what you have to do is you have to configure the label for each node. Now how to configure that? There are some standards which we follow whenever you are configuring the label. So let's say now for this particular product, now imagine it this way, whenever you are configuring product, what you are doing is you are giving abbreviation, right? It's basically a short form for that particular product. Apart from that, you are giving some code for that particular product, right? So whenever you are configuring the Xmind for any product, you have to right click on that central topic. You have to click on insert, and there is something like a label. So whenever you are giving a label for product for the first node, the standard is like you have to put some abbreviation hyphen the product name. Now for example, this is my Bob product and I want to give abbreviation as BOP. So what I'll do is I will give it as a BOP hyphen my product name. And whenever you are giving label, there should not be a space. So let's say I'm giving business owner. Now you can see here, this is my abbreviation for that particular product and this is my product name. Now one thing is, you cannot have abbreviation more than 3 character. You have to put abbreviation as only 3 character. So it's up to you what your client want, right? Based on that you can give abbreviation for that particular product. Now similar to this product, there is a product line, right? Now for product line also we need to give a abbreviation. So insert label. Normally whatever product code you give here, right? Like here I have given it as a Bob. Same I will be putting here. Hyphen my line code. So what is my line code? Business owners lines. So this is one of the standard we have to follow whenever we are configuring the Xmind. Now after that, whatever nodes will be tying up with the line, right? You don't have to give any abbreviation hyphen something. You have to simply give the label whatever you want. For example, this is my category name, right? So I can give anything like insert label, line coverages. Let's say if this is exclusions, right? So what I can do, I can just give exclusions. So like that you can start adding labels for each node. Important thing is only these two nodes. Now I'll tell you the reason why this is important. You might have seen that whenever you are creating any product, right? What you do is you are giving some abbreviation and you are creating all the entities with that abbreviation, like Bob line, Bob coverages, or if you're working for any client, right, you will have a specific abbreviation, and based on that you will start creating all the PCFs or entities, right? That is why, let's say whenever I'm giving, for example, I'm giving it as a Bob, right? What it will do is whenever I'm finalizing the code at the final stage, that time it will create all my entities with this abbreviation. Okay, so that is why this is very important, these two nodes. In case if you are not giving abbreviation, right, simply if I'm giving like this, can anyone tell me what will happen?
Maybe it will take bus only.
Correct. What will happen is when you are inputting it, it will give errors. So that is why there are some standards which Guidewire has given for configuring Xmind which we have to follow. First standard is you have to add a markers which is mandatory. Second thing is for the product and product line you should have an abbreviation with the proper name. Now can anyone tell me, let's say I'm having this particular Xmind and now I'm trying to import that. Will it give any error or how it will be?
I guess it will give error because you have not added code for condition. There is no level for condition.
Okay, maybe I'll answer that particular question tomorrow.
I think it will take. I think it will skip subtopic 3 and 4. Others, other thing I think it will take correctly.
That's correct. Because subtopic 3 and 4 was not having any marker. That is why it will skip by APD. But for condition it will take. The reason is whenever you're working on V10 version, it is mandatory that you have to give these labels. But as I said, Guidewire has migrated to multiple releases, right? They have upgraded their APD. So even if you are not giving label, let's say you mislabel for these conditions, right? When you are importing it, what happens is whatever name you are giving here, that will be considered as your label. Let's say I'm giving collision coverage and I'm not giving any label. But when I'm importing that into APD, it will consider collision coverage, that complete name as a label. But you all know that there are some restrictions, right? Whenever you are configuring any code for any coverages or something, there are some limitations. It won't accept more than 50 character, I guess. So what will happen is, let's say you are configuring any coverage with a bigger name. It will truncate that to 50 character and it will, sometime it throws error while starting the server if you have, coverages with the same name. That is why it is always best practice to give the label for each node. Okay. Any doubt till this point?
Poonam, just one thing. So
Yeah.
before this thing, you were saying like we can't like while giving the label, we should not be giving the space. So suppose for collision coverage, we forgot to give the label. Wouldn't it give the error because there is space in
No.
between?
So what will happen is Guidewire automatically remove the space and it will label will show like this.
Okay.
So what it will do, it will remove all the spaces automatically and it will concatenate everything like a string. We do.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Poonam, one question here is that
Yeah.
if an organization wants this coverages names to be same across systems, and I want to specifically mention the code for that collision coverage, where do I give it?
Yeah, we can do it. So let's say I have this coverage, right? Collision coverage. I want to give a name for this particular coverage code, right? I can go here and do it. Even for this one also, I'm adding some label, right? So I'm just giving the coverage code. Sorry.
So whatever is the label will go into the code.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Now, as I said, right, there are some standards which we follow, right? Whenever we are configuring Xmind, let's say whenever you are configuring any coverage, right? What basically standard we follow is we are appending at the end as COV. So it is very easy to understand that this is a coverage. Now let's say if I'm configuring any exclusion. So what I'm doing is I will append at the end as EXCL. So like that we have few standards. Maybe we will share that at the end tomorrow. So whenever you are practicing for the X-Men, right? For the first time, even if you are doing, start using this standard. Okay, let me go to the next one. So after configuring the coverage, right?
Poonam, I think we can give a pause. We need 2 minutes left for 5.
Okay. So shall we continue tomorrow? Or
Yes,
maybe
Poonam, I
if
think we
anyone
can.
has